Let's bring in our first official MP panel of the new Parliament. They're here to size up or tear down the government at the opening bell. Brand new Liberal MP Lenore Zann of Nova Scotia is here. Veteran Conservative MP Michelle Rempel of Alberta, and back for a second term, NDP Kwan of Vancouver. So this is a tone document. We should be looking at this as an action plan. Did you like the tone, Michelle, or leave you rather cold?
Why shouldn't we be looking at it as an action plan? I mean, I thought that's what the throne speech was, and I just don't buy the Liberal spin on that. Look, I'm going to take a different approach.
Okay.
This was really hard for me to listen to because the human cost and the human face of the lack of attention or any sort of concrete plan to get the people in my riding back to work, lack of pride in our energy sector, or lack of concrete measures means that the suicide rate in Alberta will continue to increase. People will continue to lose their homes. The hopelessness will continue. And this is a self-propagated crisis that Justin Trudeau has undertaken with bills like C-68 or C-69. It was really hard because I know that the people back at home are going to go, we're forgotten again. They don't care about us. And it's really hard.
But he did say that concerns are justified and real. I know that wasn't a specific...
Oh, come on. That is a pat on the head of insulting, disgusting proportions. Oh, you know what? Maybe something bad is happening. If this was happening in any other part of the country, I really honestly think if this was happening in any other part of the country, the whole throne speech would have been dedicated to it. I think that that particular spin, like, oh, well, we put one sentence in it of platitudes, is going to be interpreted as another mark of hopelessness. Okay. And
Lenore?
I don't know, Don.
Well, I mean, obviously, I am excited about the throne speech because I heard a lot of things in there about climate change, about the environment, about Indigenous issues.
I know, but stick with that. Was Alberta and Saskatchewan overlooked?
No, I don't think so. I think that the whole tone of the speech was talking about all of us coming together to progress Canada in a forward fashion that is going to help everybody. That's going to help people who are in the middle class. It's going to help people who are coming into the middle class. I'm excited to see what is going to happen in the next year, and I think that the ministers are going out to the Western provinces. Chrystia Freeland has already met with them, so has the Minister of Natural Resources. I spoke with him today. He said that meetings had gone very well there. So I give the government, a chance. I believe in them. So I'm going to give them my chance and go with it.
Well, if you said no, you weren't, I'd be saying that as a news story. Jenny Kwan?
Well, I'll tell you, we just came out of an election. I think that Canadians sent this government a very clear message, and that there are many Canadians who are struggling, and they actually want the government to take action. Pretty words is not going to cut it, and what we saw in the throne speech, I'm sorry to say, is a lot of pretty words without actually anything that tie into real action. They talk about reconciliation, one of the key issues that we put forward. Then why is the government, why is the Prime Minister taking Indigenous children to court? For heaven's sakes, can we actually really measure up and say reconciliation means real action, and we will not take Indigenous children to court? On farmer care, I don't know, I challenge any MP to come and tell me that they have not met one person at their doorsteps where they say they can't afford their medication. And what did we hear in the throne speech? The government said, well, we'll take steps towards farmer care. Well, we've done that for decades and decades now, and people are still not getting the medication that they need. It is not good enough. So we want to work with the government. I want to send this message loud and clear. We want to work with the government, and what they need to do is to extend a hand and make some changes and take some real action.
Well, given what you're saying, how do you support this throne speech then as a party?
Well, I'm very disappointed with this throne speech. I have to tell you, I kept looking and looking, even on climate action. There's a lot of pretty words about it. They talked about actually getting to net zero by 2050. And where's the plan? They can't even meet the Paris Agreement targets right now. And now they're talking about even bolder plans, and there's no path forward to get there. I was hoping that the government maybe will put some words into an environmental bill of rights to say to the young people, we heard you. Not just to say that, yes, we heard you, but really take some real action and indicate to them with some timeline and with real measure support or indication for legislation that they will go down the path to say climate action is real for this government.
Any sense in here, Michelle, that this government wants to play ball in a minority parliament, wants to make this work for all areas of the country? You know, I know there's a huge, in your view, there's a huge gap in the prairies where there should be some action plan, but did you see any hope? Because he did reach out to the Conservatives on some things like tax-free paternity benefits and things like that.
Again, I'm going to go back to the people that I represent. I don't think that there's any interest in playing ball with them. And I'll tell you why. The government, Justin Trudeau, knows what the issues are and knows the policy levers that need to be pulled in order to get my community back to work. Scrapping Bill C-69, C-48, the things that will restore confidence in investment in the energy sector, ensuring that, you know, we have that climate for things in the province to grow. And they know these solutions, and there was nothing in there, nothing. And again, like if, you know, I was watching the spin on this, well, it was a tone document. Well, you know, a throne speech is no place to have details or priorities. Come on. You know, the people in my riding, and, you know, even some of the things Jenny was saying, we can't afford to wait on these issues for details and platitudes and spinning that platitudes are acceptable is not why people sent us to Ottawa. And you know, just that pat on the head is so disgusting, Dawn.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about the fact that I come from the Maritimes, where I come from a riding that we are surrounded by water in Nova Scotia. We have rising sea levels. In my riding, we have the Cape of Chignecto, the Chignecto Isthmus. And there are water on both sides. It's rising. And if we don't do something pretty soon, we're going to be an island. So that's going to cost a lot of money for Nova Scotians and for Canada, because there's a lot of money and business that goes back and forth across that isthmus. But so I have to say, in a throne speech, you don't just lay out every single detail that you're going to do. That comes in the bills that are coming. That comes in our green bills that are coming down the line. That comes in the fact that we're going to be cutting taxes for the middle classes. That comes for a lot of different things. I've heard a lot of throne speeches in my time of 10 years now in government in Nova Scotia. And, you know, it's like you don't lay out every single thing. You try and address issues right across the country. This is not just one province or one region. We are an entire country. We are the West. We are the East. We are the Middle. We are the North. Well, it is. And we have to remember that. And we have to think it's not just about us. It's about everybody. Many of our workers in Nova Scotia are working in out West. And guess what?
Not anymore.
They're out of
under
work
your
too.
Government.
And in Nova Scotia,
That's
guess
right.
what? The fisheries died a long time ago, and we're trying to get that back. So we know what it's like not to have things. We know what it's like to lose our homes. We know what it's like to be poor. And we are ready to say, look, we need to get into green, clean energy and move away from fossil fuels eventually, but at a pace that is going to be okay and good for everybody and not just the few. That's where I would stand.
Well, I got to say, so even granted, you say you don't have every single detail, but on the climate issue, you know, the government could have said we are going to be committed to a climate action in the form of legislation, that we will bring in a Climate Change Accountability Act, that we will bring in an Environmental Bill of Rights in the platform, but not in the throne speech. Where is it in the throne speech? We've heard it over and over and over again.
You put that in the throne speech.
No, you put it in the throne speech. What the Liberals do all the time, and what we have learned in the last 4 years is that the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, will say these big, pretty words and these bold actions he proclaims that he's going to follow through on, and yet the action never materializes. And that is the reality. And one would have thought that he would have heard that message from Canadians during the campaign, that he was going to change that path. And so I was looking for the throne speech for some concrete commitment with some real timelines and some real action. And I didn't hear any of that.
You know,
they want people to work together. That's what Canadians are saying.
But on what?
They don't want everybody at each other's throats. They want each other to say, I hear you, I hear what you need, I hear what you need.
We're not
Let's
here to
work
make
together
life
and make it
politically
happen.
convenient for Justin
No,
Trudeau. We're
that's
here to
what
fight for our
We're here
constituents.
for the people. We're here for Canadians,
No.
all Canadians.
Now, what we want to
details, though.
see is for the throne speech to actually deliver some concrete actions to say to Canadians, we heard your message, and that we are in it for you. And on pharmacare, the government, instead of saying we'll take steps towards pharmacare, well, they've been talking about taking steps towards pharmacare for decades now.
Universal
So how
pharmacare,
about saying, yes, we will implement universal single-payer pharmacare for all Canadians, because for Canadians to not have the medication that they need is not acceptable,
We even
and we will
mentioned
actually
dental
change that.
care, too.
They said we will study dental care.
Right.
And you know what? We've been studying pharmacare. We're going to study dental care. And you know what? All my teeth is going to fall out by the
can't
time
do
it
everything
actually
overnight.
materializes.
I do want to say one
can't
thing,
do
though.
everything
I do have to stress that I've covered throne speeches from Harper, Paul Martin, and Chrétien, and I've never seen any of them as an action plan. None. These are speeches that generally give very broad strokes. They do not deal with specific actions.
Exactly.
So I'll defend her on that.